Good Sunday morning. Welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnick. We begin this morning at City Hall, where Chicago is close to getting its first Asian American alderwoman. Tomorrow, City Council will gather for a historic meeting to confirm Mayor Lori Lightfoot's pick to represent the 11th Ward for the next year or so.
I am confident that somewhere in Chicago, a Chinese or Asian American child is going to see her face, is going to hear her voice, and know that the seeming impossible is actually possible in Chicago.
Her name is Nicole Lee, a lifelong resident of the 11th Ward with deep ties to the Chinese American community there. Lee was a pick from a list of 27 applicants. She'll leave a corporate job with United Airlines to fill the vacant seat, but she wouldn't say if she'd run for a full term next year.
I know that the 11th Ward residents are looking for a leader that's transparent, accountable, and operates with integrity. I know this because I'm one of those residents. The 11th Ward demands as much from their leaders, and I will carry these values with me into this new role.
The 11th Ward has long been the stronghold of the city's most powerful political dynasty. Former Alderman Patrick Daley Thompson resigned last month after being convicted of tax fraud. Now, he's the grandson of Richard J. and the nephew of Richard M. Daley, Chicago's two longest-serving mayors. But the Ward's City Hall ties will still run deep. See, Lee's father, Gene Lee, served as Mayor Richard M. Daley's deputy chief of staff, and he pleaded guilty to embezzlement and tax fraud. That was back in 2014. And no matter who wins Chicago's remap referendum, the newly drawn 11th Ward will be the city's first with a majority Asian American population. Now, aldermen are also moving forward with plans for a Chicago casino, a development 30 years in the making. It's been lauded as a potential cash cow for the city and its struggling pension funds. But who will decide where the casino ends up? That's caused quite a bit of tension at City Hall. There are three proposals still in the running, one on the near south side in the new 78 development, it's called. Another would take over the site of the Tribune publishing plant along the river. And a third would build just west of Soldier Field. To sort through the plans, a so-called super committee was formed by aldermen last week. But some critics say the mayor picked only her allies to join in an effort to stop debate on that critical issue.
When I look at folks who this could be in their ward, and they have said that they would like to be on this committee because this would impact their ward, I think that we've got to rethink the way that this is being done right now. This is not bringing in the light. This is not transparency. This is not good government.
The point is not correct, and it's dishonest. And if we want to talk about change and bringing in the light, then turn on the lights in your own office. Thank you.
Tom Tunney, chairman of the Council Zoning Committee, will lead the group in the coming weeks. I talked with the 44th Ward alderman about what's next. And Alderman Tom Tunney, good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining me. I want to start with some news that came near the end of this past week, which was the mayor's appointment of Nicole Lee to replace Patrick Daley Thompson. She, of course, the director of social impact with United Airlines, first Asian American and Asian American female to serve on city council. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm excited. I knew of the family historically. I know her father was very much on economic development for the burgeoning Chinese American community. So I've had interactions with him not only as alderman, but before I was on the Economic Development Commission for the city of Chicago. So they come from, she comes from a great Chicago family for that matter.
Well, just briefly, I mean, you mentioned her dad, and of course, Dad got into a little bit of trouble in the past, and there's some ties to the Daley family, Richard M. Daley. So that shouldn't taint her credentials and all of that. But I'm sort of curious if you have a thought about whether maybe things would be better if we just didn't do anything that had even an appearance of anything.
Well, we wouldn't get anyone in public service, I think, because all of us have some kind of a negative in our career. We need to attract the best and the brightest for public service. And I believe with her background and her experience, I think she's going to be a great asset to the council. So I'm not going to throw negatives out there, because actually, Paul, there's too much negatives out there. And there's a lot of people that we need to attract into public service. So I'm excited to work with her. I don't know her personally, but her credentials speak for themselves, her education. I think she's going to be a unique, diverse asset to the city council.
All right, let's turn to the big news of this week. The reason I really wanted to talk to you, you're going to be heading up the effort to pick the final casino location. As chair of that effort, Jason Urban, your sub-chair. But I do want to say there's some, as you know, some of your colleagues have said that this is stacking the deck, and the mayor appointed her friends to do this, and Anthony Beal said we ought to have a committee of the whole. Although I do think you have like 30 people on here. So what's your reaction to that?
30 people, and not all of them are friends of the mayor. So I want to, and I think all of them speak for their communities. They've got individual qualities and assets to bring to the council. And as I said to the mayor, many times, is you and I are going to disagree over the years, and we can work together to find compromise. So I think that there's going to be a rigorous process. I actually thought some of the bids that weren't in it, the old McCormick place, I thought would have been a very interesting adaptive reuse. So it's not in the final three. And I think what I've said is that it's all about location. Everyone wants the revenues of the casino, but I'm not sure if they want it in the close proximity to their neighborhood, whether it's perception of crime, which there isn't. Obviously, traffic congestion is going to be a big issue on all the three sites. I want to engage. I want to engage all my colleagues, whether they're on the committee, especially people like Alderman Cicho Lopez, because one of the sites is smack in his ward. So I've treated my zoning committee with all respect for every city council person, knowing that they know what's best for their neighborhood.
Well, actually, and Cicho Lopez has said he thinks the fix is in for the site known as the 78. And as you know, there was a survey done where 78% of 400 residents in that area don't want it due to the concerns you mentioned, traffic and crime and such. Will you be paying attention to those kind of public surveys?
Well, yes, and we're also having public meetings in each of the three affected areas. I think it's starting Tuesday, April 6th or something like that. 5th, I think it's 5th, 6th, 7th. We'll be in the three neighborhoods with the 300 plus attend or 300 limit attendance and virtual meetings for all three communities.
It does look like the mayor, in selecting the three areas she did, it looks like we're going south, we're going west. She wanted seemingly to avoid downtown. I always thought the state of Illinois might be a really useful place to place this. Is this about building up another area of the city rather than downtown, even though there's so much tourism downtown?
Well, the one central is a mega plan, which is basically downtown. So there is a downtown ish candidate of the three. Both projects in 78 and the Tribune site have already approved plan developments and mega developments for that matter. What they're looking at is maybe a change of use or a use difference that actually might reduce the density of the volume of buildings or the number of high rises in order to put the casino in. And that's one of the Valley site is interesting because we approved many high-rise buildings on that site. And with that, the proposed casino would take up about 60% of that land value. So we'd have we already approved something that's going to cause a lot of traffic congestion. It hasn't been built, but the casino would probably take, obviously the traffic patterns would be different, but I think that, we're going to really analyze what each of the bids are. And as a North Sider, I know what Chicago and Halsted has been historically, and we've yet to obviously see the impact of Sterling Bay and Lincoln Yards. So that's going to be a number one concern, especially, well, for both matter. I'm clearer on the north side than I am on the south side, but there's going to be a lot of congestion and traffic issues down there too.
So I know you've got these public hearings. Is there a timeline for this? I mean, listen, aldermanic and mayoral elections around the corner before you know it. Yeah. This stuff going to get done sooner than later?
Well, we hope to get it done hopefully by midsummer. We got to go through the biggest thing, what my committee is charged with, is to look at the three proposals, provide a very rigorous hiring, community benefits plan, economic analysis, traffic, and to really try to bring a recommendation to the full city council. And then hopefully that will happen depending on the complexity of the bid. Some, like the one central, requires some state cooperation. Maybe all of them might go back to the planning commission before it gets to the city zoning committee. But we're looking to do it sooner than later, and I hope within the next 2 to 3 months.
And finally, let me talk about the ward remap process for a bit. You signed on to the Rules Committee map. Michelle Harris was on the show last week to talk about that. But as you know, Black population down, Latino population up, and that map doesn't allow for an additional Latino ward that the Latino aldermen like Villegas want. Why are you signing on with that map?
Well, I think every alderperson looks at their self-interest, right? I think the issue about, first of all, having an Asian American alderperson, was a number one issue. I'm comfortable with either map, but in my selfish sense, the city map, Lakeview had an increase of 5,000. I had to lose 5,000 voters. I didn't want to lose any of them. So with the city map, I have to lose 5,000 in either map, but I don't get new voters. So I've been fairly successful in my neighborhood, and for me it was easier to just accept the boundaries they already have with some limited scope rather than to go into a new neighborhood. But I was fine, to be honest with you, I was fine with either one. Now, the macro issue about the Latino population increasing and African American, all I know is most of our neighborhoods on the north side have increased population, and I'm not in that turf war, to be honest with you, between the Latino caucus and the Black caucus. So a lot of us looked on the north side saying, we can work this out with our neighbors. We can work it out with our, because it is every 10 years, there's winners and losers.
Yeah, interesting perspective that not every alderman's looking at the Black versus Latino issue. You have your own concerns as well for your ward in the 44th ward. Alderman Tom Tunney, thanks for your time. I appreciate it today. Enjoy your Sunday.
Yeah. Well, Paul, let me just say, I don't want to lose any of my Lakeview residents, period. So.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Alderman.
Thank you.